All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today on the bench, we have this Sound Blaster AWE64, which currently doesn't work. I've had this for quite a few years, and yeah, I'm going to sort of take a journey with this and see if I can't do anything about it. Basically, the card will go in the computer, and it's not recognized. And I'll show you on the scope later. There's some issues with it. I basically know very little about electronics repair. It's something I'm definitely interested in. I watch a lot of videos on it, and it's kind of like a little hobby that I wanna get into. So yeah. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's get onto the scope and have a look, and we'll go from there. And with luck, maybe somebody watching knows what they're doing and can give me some pointers. And this is how I plan on learning. It's just by doing this and listening to the people who know what they're doing, giving me advice on the channel. Okay, so there's a couple of glaring issues with this card. So this voltage regulator was taken off by me a couple of years ago, and I put it back on really, really bad. So basically, when the card powers on, I felt that this voltage regulator was getting really hot. I've since changed my mind, and I feel that these surface mount capacitors down here are what is getting hot. And so the other glaring problem with this card, let me see if I can get the in the frame here. So these pins right down here, we have basically 3 of the pins on this chip are loose, and 2 of them, I believe, are actually the pads are still attached to the pins. So that's not going to bode well for you know I guess we can just call it an integrated circuit. But if some of its pins are missing and not connected and they're critical, then obviously it's not going to work. Now, these being loose and having no contact, does that have any relationship on these capacitors getting hot? I don't know. So what I want to do is I want to do a little bit of probing around with a multi-tester, and let's just see, like, is there a dead short on these to ground? Maybe, I don't know. Um, as far as I understand, these 2 capacitors are actually um, connecting the power side. So like over here, this leg is 12 volts, and over here, this leg is 5 volts, and this power regulator is what's making the 5 volts happen. So this trace right here is 12 volts, obviously, and I do know that this side of the cap is ground. So, and then over here, it's the same thing. This side of the cap is 5 volts, and this side of the cap is ground. So as far as I understand, this is more like a filter type thing to maybe filter out some noise that could potentially be happening. If there is an electronics person that's watching, can either I mean, maybe they can't confirm in this specific scenario, this particular card, but does that sound like something that would happen in an audio card, especially on the power side? Would they use a small capacitor like this tied to ground from the voltage source to act as a filter? When I did some basic research, this is what I think is happening. So I need to figure out, is it these caps that are actually getting hot? And if they are, why? And then I guess, would loose connections on the IC cause something like these capacitors to get hot? So I don't know. Okay, anyway, enough rambling. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I think I think this is going to be a ground plane over here. So I've just got the multi-tester on the diode mode, and I'm just going to touch the retention bracket, and you can hear that we have continuity between that. So this part of the voltage regulator should be ground. Okay, so we have continuity. So this must be a ground plane right here. And if I touch down here, now you have to excuse me, I'm trying to use this microscope, and it's I'm very new to it, so it's kind of hard to get my bearings when I'm looking at the screen. So this side should be ground, and it is. And this side should be ground on this, and it is. Okay, and so if I go over on the positive side, nothing. If I go on the positive side, nothing. And I can do the same thing here because they're connected through this trace. So I got no continuity, no continuity. Okay, so that means that there's no dead short on these caps, I'm assuming, right? I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. So that was just a basic continuity test, I guess, right? That's the diode tester. So then I'm thinking, okay, what about these capacitors? Because these are in this same circuit, right? So if I flip it over, these are the connections right here from the other side of the board. So what if I find a ground plane, like say right here? In theory, I should get a beep here, right? Oh, I'm not on diode mode. Okay, so that's going to be a ground plane. So that's the negative side, and I get nothing. This would be the negative side, and I get nothing. So does that mean that there's no short in this capacitor? Because if there was a dead short, wouldn't I get a beep on the positive side as well? Okay, and then these two capacitors, I get, that's definitely connected to the ground plane, right? Okay, this one's connected to the ground plane. I get a beep. This one's not. I get nothing. The multimeter is reading 1129, 1130. I don't know what that means. 11 what? I'm on the diode portion of the meter. So if somebody can tell me what does that mean when I'm on diode and it's 1178 watt. I don't know. So then the next question is, can I test these capacitors in circuit somehow? So I guess what I'm going to need to do is figure out what setting on the multimeter do I need to be on to test the capacitor. Uh, Off the top of my head, I don't actually know. So what I'm going to do, and again, I've seen people in videos talking about testing capacitors in circuit, and I've heard them say, "Oh, the way that I'm doing this right now isn't really reliable because something else on the board could be causing um, a weird reading." But then they've also said, "Oh, in this example, it's okay. I can actually test it in circuit." I, I don't know when that is. So again, if you have any insight, feel free to bleep bloop that down in the comments there. So let me stop the video. I want to just see, like, is there a way to test a capacitor with this multi-tester in whatever way that you can test a capacitor, whether it's in circuit or not. and yeah, I'll come back and see what I can do. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. These capacitors are all the same values. They're 47 microfarad, whatever volts. I would assume more than 12 volts because, you know, it's got 12 volts going through it. I'm going to desolder those because when I was looking at the, you know, how to do a basic test on a capacitor, I can use the diode or continuity mode, and I can also use the you know, I can test the resistance, the ohms setting. But both of those stated that I should remove the capacitor from the circuit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove those four. I'll use my my hot air gun. Let's move this out of the way. And I'm going to use a C-clamp because I don't currently own a benchtop vise like for electronics. So I'm going to use this. Let me move this to where you can actually see it. There we go. I'm going to use this C-clamp just to kind of hold this card. I don't have it on there very tight, and there's nothing around there. It's all pretty safe. So let me turn on my hot air. And let's turn up the temp to something. I don't know. Maybe I'll do like, I don't know, 400 degrees. Is that too high? Oh, and I just realized I want my card this way. Let me just make sure you guys are still in frame. Yep, good. So what I'll do is I'll start heating. My hot air is still coming up to temp. So I'm going to just start heating right here, and I'll grab the cap on the other side, and with any luck I can pull it off. I'm starting to see signs of melting. Okay, there we go. There's one cap out. Okay, let's do the next one. Okay, there's two caps out. Hey, that's coming out pretty nice. There's three. There's four. And there's five. That's good. Okay. And what I want to do next is I want to remove this voltage regulator. All right, let's put you guys back in the center again. So let me just heat up this and excuse me if I'm like blocking the shot. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this. Okay, and that's loose. Good. So we'll let my gun cool down. Okay, so let's try and clean up this solder a bit. And I'm going to use this solder wick that I have never, ever used before in my life. So go easy on me when I'm doing something completely stupid. All right, let's try. Okay. Okay, I could probably do a little better on that. That's pretty well saturated right there. Give me a sec here, find my trimmers. Here they go. And just trim that off. And let's see if I can do a little bit better job here. This is a giant blob of solder. Hopefully I can melt it, because this iron is pretty, there we go. This iron is pretty small. Also, this solder wick is kind of small too. I've never used it before. First time. Aha. So there is that pad came up. Interesting. Did I overheat this, or did I ruin this a long time ago when I was messing around with it? Okay. Let me get some alcohol and a toothbrush that I use. I got to be careful of that pad because it's loose. As a matter of fact, the other pad looks loose too, doesn't it? Let's see if I can get some more light down here. Potentially. Oops. Let me just see. I'll get some alcohol in here and let's carefully go this way as to not lift that pad up. So let me just poke around with this a little bit carefully. Oh, I've got flux all over this. Hold on one second here. Some paper towel. There we go. So that is definitely loose, but it's still attached. This one is also definitely loose, but it's still attached. I should verify that, right? Hold on. Let me get a multi-tester. And let's just put it on diode mode or continuity or whatever the hell I'm supposed to say as far as the nomenclature is. So if I go here and touch right here, okay, I have continuity. If I go here and touch right here, I have continuity. Okay, so I need to be like stupid careful with these because they're loose from the board. However, I should still be able to solder to them. Okay, so we have that off. I am going to need to clean up the back of the board here and get those holes free. Okay, so let's do a simple test, I guess. So I will just make sure these are discharged. I'm assuming touching these metal tweezers should do that. And I'm going to just put the positive clamp right there. And I will take, this is on continuity test, and I will take this on the negative, and I'm seeing nothing. So let's put it on, I don't know, 2K ohms. So in theory, this should be reading something. What if we do 200? Nothing. Let me try another one. So that's positive here. And let's do another. Oops. These are kind of hard to measure because they're small. Interesting. Okay, hold on. Give me a sec. Okay, well, according to the interwebs, I should be able to put this on, say, like 1 kiloohm. Although I don't have a 1 kiloohm, so I'll put it on 2 kiloohms, I guess. And I'm supposed to be able to put the lead on, say, the positive and the negative side as well. And it says you're supposed to see a value climb up, but I'm not seeing anything. Let me try this one. And nothing. So here's a brand new capacitor. I'm going to just see what happens on this one. And and nothing happens. Am I in the wrong range? Like, nothing happens there. And nothing happens there. I don't understand. Why is it not? Is it this meter? Should I try a different meter? None of my meters show 1 kiloohm. I have 200 ohms, 2000 ohms, 20K, 200K, 2000K, and 20M. So what the hell am I supposed to be looking at here? We got, and nothing happens. Okay, so let me check something else out here. So it says, I know you guys can't see me on the screen. It says, select the ohm range, say 1 kiloohm. Connect the leads of the multimeter, to the negative and positive terminals to be tested. Current flows through the capacitor and the capacitor starts charging. In the case of a digital multimeter, a series of values will appear on a display panel, increasing in order and finally setting at infinity. So is it because these capacitors are so small that that's actually happening really fast? Does that sound like something? What if I take one of these? I know you guys still can't see me, but what if I take one of these giant capacitors? And I mean, in theory, there should be no voltage on these. They've been in a package for years and years and years, but I'll short them out. So, like, if I take and put it on the positive side, and then take my negative lead. Okay. So, is it just happening way too fast on these, and this meter can't show it? Let me short this one out. So in theory, that should discharge it, right? I just bridge the leads, and let me connect that to positive, and let me connect this to negative. Oops, I shorted it out. Let me do that again. I'm going to short this out. Okay, and let me do this again. But nothing happens. So is it too small? Is that what the deal is? Let me short this one out too. Just make sure it's discharged. Okay. Connect this to positive. Connect this to negative. And I see nothing freaking happen. Let me try a different meter. Hold on a sec. I'm just going to keep the thing rolling here because it's just going to be easier for me. Let me grab my trusty Mastercraft over here. I've had this for years and years and years. Okay, let's put this on 2000 ohms. And let me just put those two leads on this metal thing to discharge it. And good. These are so small, holy cow. So hopefully you can see that. Let me see. And again, nothing happens. Let me make sure this is discharged. Let's try a smaller range. And nothing happens. So, oh, hold on. Well, shoot. Let me discharge this again. Okay, so was that in the shot? Yes, it was. So when I discharge this capacitor, I'm on 20K right now. It charges up and then goes to, I guess, infinity. Okay, so I'm going to say that capacitor is working. Let me short this one out. And I will grab the positive side on here. And then let's try this one. Make sure I'm not shorting it out. Okay, same thing. Good. Let's short this out. And grab it on here again. Okay. So that one is good, I guess. Let me short this one out. Okay. And test this one. Okay. So they're all basically doing the same thing. Okay. Let's grab this one. Okay. So let's do this brand new one that I picked up and see if we get a reading on this one. And we do. All right. So what does that mean? Does it mean that these 5 capacitors are actually fine? Is that what's happening here? I'm not sure. Like, again, as I stated in my video intro, I know very little as far as it comes to like components and diagnosing and whatever. Like, you know, I can look at a board and I can say, hey, that's a capacitor, or hey, that's a resistor, or, you know, whatever. Like this voltage regulator, I didn't know it was a voltage regulator. I knew that it had something to do with power, but I didn't know in what way. And so when I looked up the part number, and then I found out, oh, it's a voltage regulator. It has a range of voltage that you can put in it, and then 5 volts comes out on this particular model. So yeah, does that mean my capacitors are good? I don't know. If you got some knowledge, lay it on me. Okay, so what I want to do now is, because I haven't made this hard enough for myself yet, I want to remove this IC. And I've already watched a couple of videos a week or so ago removing ICs with hot air. So I'm going to attempt that. And the reason why I want to attempt that is there's those 3 pins that are loose don't seem to have any traces coming out. So I kind of feel like it could be a trace on underside of the chip, right? Or it could just be by some dumb luck those 3 pins aren't used for anything. Because, there's, you look all around here, like, that doesn't go anywhere. That doesn't appear to go anywhere. That doesn't, that one, you get the drift, right? I mean, like, there's a whole bunch, like these three don't appear to go anywhere, whole block right here. So do these go nowhere, or are there traces underneath this chip? And I need to know, obviously, because this one and this one are currently on the legs of the chip. The pads are stuck to them, so if I move them, I can see the whole pad move. So I'm going to desolder this chip, or at least attempt to desolder it with hot air, and yeah, we'll go from there. This stupid, they, maybe you can, I don't know, can you see from the other camera? Yeah, you can. This is a touch sensitive slider, and you put a board on there and it makes it turn off the light or change the light or whatever. Ugh. It's a great idea, but why'd you put it right there? Like, anyway, that's just me complaining. So let's put this right here. And you see, it drives me freaking bonkers. Okay, I'm going to just put a piece of tape. No, I wonder if a piece of tape would actually do it. What if I put this here? Does it still? Yeah, so a piece of tape's not going to do me any good. It must, it's somehow sensing my finger above it. How about if I go this way? Okay, that'll work. The only thing is I wanted to kind of get where I could get tweezers in there with my left hand. I guess there's no time like the present, right? I'm going to get some hot air on it, and then I'm going to apply a little bit of flux. And I don't know what kind of airspeed we're supposed to be using, or temperature for that matter. I've got this set to 400. The airspeed's at like 4.5 out of 8. Maybe I'll just move up to 5. Okay, so I'm going to just put the hot air station down for a second. And is this hot enough to take and melt a bit of solder flux? It looks like it is. Good. Good. Oops. It's so hard to see the. It's so hard to look at the screen and not what you're actually doing. Okay, so here we go. Let's start heating this up. And try to do it as uniform as possible here. I'm not sure if this is going to be successful. I think the chip might be way too big for this. Oh, I got to be really careful. I got it. Holy freaking cow. Okay. So, let's put that there and let it cool down. There we go. So this went like so, which is fine. So that means the broken pins were over here. So yes, look, there was. See? One of these came into here. Okay, let me clean that up. Wow, that was the first ever integrated circuit I've ever pulled off of a board, like especially of that size. Let me clean this up and we shall have a look. Oh, I have immediately whoops, moved some stuff. I'm gonna have to fix those. I've got this, and this I need to fix. That's fine. I'm glad they're still there. So that's okay. And also online, there's high-res photos of this board online, so I can look and figure out what I've done wrong at a later date. Okay, so now let's have a quick look here. I'm gonna bring the thing down, so you're gonna go out of focus for a sec here while I just want to get this closer. Let's get this all the way down. There we go. And let's bring this into focus. Okay, so here we go. I can see already that some of the loose pins were not going to work. So basically, this pin, I wish my tweezers were a little smaller. This pin right here did go under the chip. This pin here did go under the chip. And this pin, which is missing its pad. So I only had one pad that was actually broken by the looks of it. And so this pin appears to go nowhere. And this one goes to this via right here. So does that mean, so if I bring this back, you can see the pad right there. That's sticking off the side. That pad is the one that ripped off, and it appears as if this goes nowhere. So maybe I don't even have to worry about, like, there's no such thing as a pad repair on this one, right? Like, I don't need to. So what I need to do is I'll need to clean up these pins right here, these two, and make sure they get soldered down properly, because they were both broken off. So I guess the moral of the story here is if I had have known about these traces and the fact that this one goes nowhere, I could have just resoldered this one and this one down and been done with life. But I didn't know that. So anyhow, now I do. Hopefully I haven't overheated this chip. I don't know how hot they can actually get before you kill them. But I mean, I heated it just enough to melt the solder and get it to move. So I don't know, maybe I'm okay. Woo, okay. That's kind of exciting, actually, removing an IC like this. The pitch, is that what you call it? The pitch between the legs is really, really fine. So this could be quite fun to put back together, right? Awesome, cool. Okay, it's the next day. Let's continue on with this. I've got my meter on continuity mode, or diode checker, or whatever the heck you want to call it. Again, when it comes to terminology or nomenclature, please correct me, because I want to make sure I'm saying the right things. So let's check, make sure that these pads, this is still good. Okay, we got a beep. Let's make sure this is still good. This one here. And it is. Okay, and again, this one appears to go nowhere. This one should be, yeah, it's good. So I guess this is an unused pin, right? It must be, because it doesn't have a via, so it has to be unused, right? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, so I'll just use my multi-tester lead here. It looks like that would be unused, and that would be unused, and these three are unused. Okay, so I guess it looks like, you know, obviously there's more here, whole whack load down here. So it stands to reason that since there's unused pins, pretty well all around. Well, that one's not unused, but pretty well there's a bunch of unused pins. So it stands to reason that there could be one over here as well. So, okay, I've got my, I've got a different iron going. It's not a particularly expensive iron, but it has a variable control. Again, I don't know if it's big enough, but what it does have, let's see if I can get it on the, it has this nice little chisel tip, if that's what you call it. I don't know. So I'm going to use that with the solder wick, and we can clean up this board. Let's just get some flux down these. I don't know if we have to go too crazy on this, but oh, I guess you guys can't see what I'm doing. Hold on. Whoops. Not only is it blurry, it's really zoomed in. Let me just raise this up so we can actually see what we're doing here. Well, I mean, more specifically, you can see what I'm doing. Okay. That's probably good enough. Also, I need to source a clamp, some sort of clamp to hold electronics. There. Maybe that'll help the solder wick a little bit. Speaking of which, let's cut some of this off. Okay. And let's try. Let's start up here. Whoa. Okay. This iron, even though it's cheap, is way better than that other iron. Maybe it's just the chisel tip too. Hard to say. Okay, let's get to, oops, let's get you guys in the center here. How's that looking? I think that's looking okay. All right, let's do this side. How's my wick? It's not doing too bad. And let's get over here. That even sounds right. It's squeaky. And let's get this other spot right here. It'd be nice if this freaking card wasn't moving. Okay, so how does it look down here? Is that, let's just zoom in again here. Hold on. Let's undo the lock and then let's just move down. I want to see this damaged area. I'm going to focus this thing for you guys. It kind of almost looks like, let's use my tester probe again. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. So I did see 2 pads moving. Ooh. 3 pads technically moving. I think I'll be okay. Because technically they're still attached. So I'll just make sure they're as straight as possible. And I guess once I have the IC back down, the rest of the legs will hold it down and this should be fine, right? I guess. So, okay, good. Let me just turn off this. No, I can't turn it off. I have to unplug it. There, don't need that iron rocking around for hours on end. And then I need to do something with this. I got to make sure that there's no pins touching one another. There's that right here is that pad that lifted up. I think that's just flux, right? Yeah, that's just flux in there. Okay, burnt flux. So I got to clean this up and inspect all the legs or pins or whatever we call it. Get the flux out of each groove. I guess that's just some dried flux. So I'll clean this up. Yeah. All right. So I will take some alcohol and clean this board again. I still have to fix those 3 capacitors. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the small capacitors on, put them all back in. I'm going to off camera just retest them again and just make sure that they all seem to be okay, or at least if I could find some sort of measurement that makes sense, just see if they're all the same between all the 5 caps or close to it. I was on Amazon today and I was looking at a capacitor tester. It's not overly expensive, so maybe I'll pick one of those up and learn how to use it. And then yeah, okay, so let me get going with the reinstallation of those capacitors. Okay, so let's get these holes cleared out. I've got my solder sucker gun here, and it's just heating up. Looks like it's getting close, but let me move it off to the side without melting something. And I think we should probably apply some more solder to these holes to kind of maybe help us out here. I seem to think that's something I've seen people do before. Okay. Let me try right here. Get that melted, and oh, it's beautiful. There we go. Okay, good. Let me unplug this and get it out of the way so I don't burn myself on it, because that's exactly what I would probably do. Okay, so let's get this one heated up. It's got a hole that's slightly still blocked. We'll just push that cap through after. There we go. Okay, and then let's get this next one done. I'm making sure the polarity is correct, obviously. Okay, we'll let this gun cool down. All right, so I will just turn this heat back up, and let's get this card down. And I can see all the legs poking through. So I'll just use my flux core and clean off the tip. Just make sure that none of those have fallen out. Oh, of course. Of course one fell out. Why wouldn't it? You jerk. All right. So there you go. Here's the 5 that I just soldered. I think they look pretty good. So next thing we want to do is, let's bring this back into focus. Let's get that power regulator, voltage regulator back on. I wonder if I should get rid of some of this. Just kind of scrape it off. and then clean it. Yeah, and then clean it with a little bit of alcohol. That's better. This card's dirty too. Uh-oh. You idiot. I wasn't paying attention and I just bent my pads over. No. And that stupid touch sensitive thing. Oh, careful. Let me get this one. That was so close. Don't break. Please don't break. Thank you. Yeah. Remember how I said, hey, be really careful. Okay, there we go. So let's get some flux on there. And put some there and some there. I think there's going to be enough solder on this that we should be fine. So let's just get this back into place. So I will push down with some pressure. Or at least attempt to anyway. So did I get it? That is, whoops, you're not, that is definitely, it's not pretty, but it's something, right? Oh, you guys still aren't in view. Ah, sorry. It's kind of hard to pay attention to 2.5 things at once. Okay, so hold on. Let me get my tester. I'll just put it on diode. So we basically need to test from this pin to here. Oh, I'm not on diode. I was like, oh no. From here. Yeah, we have a beep. And then from here to here. And we have a beep. Okay. So it's not pretty, but it's connected. Okay. I'm gonna that one pin is, those two pins are pretty bent, but they're in the same plane. Okay, so we'll put this here. Focus. And let's just get some flux. Try not to bend them pins. That looks pretty good. Pins still look pretty good. So let's just stick this bad boy down. And we'll try to get it as lined up as possible. So it looks like this side has to come over just a hair. Yeah, there's freaking crap on my tweezers again. And I just touched it to the thing. So it's a little crooked on this side. Okay, let me get some hot air going. And I'm gonna just try to get it right on the, just on the pins themselves. Let's move that. Let's check this corner up here. Let's just go just a hair. Okay, I'm going to try and put some pressure down on it without moving it. Let's see if I can get this corner tacked down. That's definitely tacked down. Okay, so now I can probably just work around the board putting pressure. So we'll do, let's see if this pin attached right here. Nope. Just move that over. That's close enough. Okay. I'll put some pressure right here. Good. And we'll come over to here. And I need to maybe just tweak some of this a little bit, especially right down here. It's not quite lined up. Well, that pin seems to be stuck, so I'm going to leave it. Okay, so let me get some pressure on this. That one pin is kind of off, but it might be still stuck enough. Okay, good. Yeah, that pin is stuck. Good. So now we're going to do this side. It's not perfect, but you know what? It's close enough. All right, let's get some pressure on this side and heat there. Okay. So now let's fix those three capacitors. Oh, one of them's went back. That's weird. It must have heated. Let me turn this air down just a hair. Just so it's not blowing so hard. And okay. Okay, good. right. So let me give it a little clean with some alcohol. And let's just see, in theory, yeah, that's definitely stuck. So I can get it focused better. There doesn't seem to be any bridges. Maybe I need to move this light a little bit, get some contrast. There we go. Let me just... Oh, see? Yeah, there we go. So that one's definitely not done. Oh, hold on. Oh, you know, I didn't... I know what's going on here. See, these are all done. Oops, I'm stuck on a capacitor. These are all nice. I didn't do this side. I didn't come over here and put pressure on it and do this side. Doorknob. So let me get that done. Oops, get back there. That looks pretty good. I don't think we have to go too crazy on that one. Yeah, I only did 3 sides. Whoops. Okay, let me do this again. Okay, let's get some pressure on this chip. Okay. Yeah, those are all stuck. Oh, no, we got one. One little straggler right here. Listen here, mister. I'll put some pressure right on the edge of that chip. Oh, we have a loose one. Or I thought we did. Oh, maybe it was just a shadow. Oh no. Where was that? Yep, there's a loose one right here. Hold on. Is my iron still going? Yes, it is. Shit, which one was it again? was over here, right? Yes, okay, that's good. All right, let me check. Let me just check this side. Are we still in focus? Might as well just check them all, right? Oops. Stupid capacitors are in my way. Uh-huh. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Settle down there, mister. Let's get that in focus. Where's my solder? Here it is. Okay. Uh-oh. That pad came off. I'm going to leave it. So that appears to go to, let's just check real quick. If we go just on the very edge of that, carefully, and I'm not on diode check. God damn it. Yeah, we have continuity. Okay, so we're good. We're good. Okay, let's check this side. And just make sure there's nothing loose. Good. And did I already check this side? I'll check it again anyway. Okay, good. So that's everything back on the board. Okay, so a couple days later, I did clean the card and I installed it in the test machine, and no audio still. Card wasn't recognized. So I went on a bit of a journey on YouTube, and I found this guy. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name. Anyway, he had a video on recapping the AWE64, and what the other cool thing was is he traced out sort of the power path of different voltages, like 12 volts, 5 volts, -5, -12. You see what I'm saying, right? So using because I'm still concerned that these were getting hot, or this area is getting hot. So I did a bunch of probing with the card in the computer, and I couldn't find anything odd. Like the voltages that are supposed to be where they're supposed to be are there, but the card still doesn't work. So I basically put it aside for a bit, and a couple days later, I was watching YouTube, and just by luck, this guy's video just happened to be on the right side. So I watched it, and he's reviving a 3670. It's a AWE32. However, the point of this is that he started talking about a thing called bit rot in a BIOS chip, and I didn't even know that these sound cards had a BIOS chip. So, long story short, he goes over how to dump the BIOS and then look at it with a hex editor. And so here he's oops, I seems to have lost that. Where did it go? So he's dumped the BIOS, and he has some BIOS files that were pulled by other people and put on the internet. So I want to try this. I'm gonna download the tools, and I'm going to try and dump the BIOS of this card if it'll let me. And it just so happens that in this video, he talks about the resources that you can download from. Actually, if you just go to his website here, let's just do that real quick. At the bottom, see, he's got some BIOS images. So he's working on a 3670. There happens to be AWE64. That's the 4520. That's the card that I'm currently working on. So there's a BIOS image in there, and there's some flash utilities. So I'm going to download those. I'm going to put it in the test bench, and I'm going to see if I can pull the current BIOS from my card, and using the hex editor, I'm going to compare the two and just see what it looks like. That's a long shot, but like I said, I tested all the voltages that I understand and can easily get at, and it all looks good. So, like, unless the chip is burned out or something else is burned out on the board, like it should be working, right? So, okay, let's do that. Okay, so I've got the card in the computer. It's still like, it's not like smoking hot, but it's pretty warm. So let's try and see if we can dump this. So I just have the utilities on the GoTech there on one of the floppies on it. So let's just run AWE dump. And from the video, there's no switches or anything. You just run it. And let's see what happens. Okay, so it's reading resource from card. If it's going to be successful, we'll get a message here. One card read, okay. That's a good sign. So it has read the card. So it's at least working for that, right? So there's our AWE dump. It's only 512 bytes. Like you can see all these bin files that I've put on here are just 512 bytes. So I've got the dump. Let's take this flash drive out, put it in my computer, and open this, and let's compare it against the 4250, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, we're back on the computer. So I've got the AWE dump.bin file copied over. So let's open up the bin file for the CT4250. Okay, so here's the bin file for the CT4520. Sorry, I don't know why I said 4250. The 4520. You can see it's a Sound Blaster AWE64 plug and play. Okay, moment of truth. Let's open the file for, where did I put it? Desktop. Let's open the dump that we just took. Let me try that one more time. Let's open the dump file that we just copied from the card. All right. Whoa, okay. Look. The BIOS that we just pulled from that card is completely bunk. There's nothing there. Here's the 4250 that I got from the internet. And the bin file that we just pulled from the card, it's blank. So maybe the card is fine mechanically or electrically. Well, I mean, it had its problems, right? But so, okay, we've just confirmed that the BIOS on the card is completely bunk. So let's go back to the computer. Let's boot it back up, and let's try and flash this 4250 BIOS back onto the card. And yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, we're back. So we're going to be flashing the CT4250.bin using the off flash. So off flash space, and I guess we just do the file name. So CT. Why do I keep saying 4250? We're going to flash the 4520 4520.bin. Okay, let's see what happens. So we've got the card is going to overwrite. Do we want to continue? Yes. Okay. Survey says reading resource from data from card. One card written. Okay. Let's reboot this. I'm just going to leave the camera rolling, and I'm using Unisound, right? So Unisound would give a basically no card found error. So I'm just gonna, I have Windows 98 on here too, so I'm just smashing F8 to bring up the boot menu. And let's get to that. Okay, so we're gonna do previous version. So this is gonna load my MS-DOS is what this is doing. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna have our Unisound driver at some point. We'll just choose extended, that's fine. Okay, CD-ROM. Yes! Look! It's working! Holy freaking cow. Okay, so hold on. What do we got? Sound Blaster AWE64 plug and play. We've got some settings and stuff. Okay, hold on. Let me back the camera up a little bit. This is freaking awesome. Let's put this here. Let me get the sound cable. Where did the sound cable go? Here it is. I'm freaking stoked right now. Right. I have some. He also showed some diagnostic utility from Sound Blaster 16. Let's go to A. By he, I mean the guy in the video. DIR. Let's go into the Sound Blaster. Oops. CD SB16. And what did he run? Let me just do a DIR. He ran diagnose. Okay. Diagnose. Diagnose. Is this gonna run or what? Okay. This utility will verify the base inode address, MPU 401 MIDI port, blah, blah, blah. Enter to continue. I'm just going to let it do defaults, I guess. Detecting DRAM. Usable DRAM size on audio card is whatever. You want to test the DRAM. Sure. Tested successfully. Rock on. This is what? This is MIDI wavetable 330. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just do default. Subsequent sections, this utility will verify the IRQ, low DMA, high DMA. Okay, good. So we'll just do IRQ 5. Channel low DMA. Oh, low DMA would be 1, right? Yeah. And this, you'll be prompted to select a high DMA channel. DMA should be 5, right? Or no, wait, DMA, that's IRQ 5. What's the high DMA channel? Is it 7? I can't remember. I'm just going to use 7. Nope, so that's not 7. Let's can we just auto scan? Oh, it was 1. Okay. This will allow you to perform various audio function tests. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's do 8-bit sound on both channels.
8-bit testing.
Yes. Yes. Okay, let's do 16-bit sound. Both channels.
16-bit testing.
Unfreaking believable. Synthesized music. Nice. Okay, and then AWE synthesized music. CT MIDI driver cannot be found. Oh, so we have a missing driver. It stands to reason that this should work, right? This is unfreaking believable. Okay, so there was some mechanical or electrical. It's more mechanical. The card was damaged, right? There was broken pins and some stuff that needed to be fixed. So, you know, probably pulling all those capacitors off and stuff and whatever didn't need to be done. The chip itself, I think it did. I think it needed to be done. I needed to find out what those broken pads, what they look like and stuff. I'm gonna just touch the back of the card again. See, it's pretty warm. It's not like smoking hot. Maybe it's supposed to be warm like that. I don't know. This is the only AWE64 I own, so it's working. It's unfreaking believable. It was BIOS bit rot that I've never even freaking heard of in my life. It's freaking crazy. All right, just real quick. I wanted to I put the official AWE64 drivers in DOS, and let's just run this last one. Yeah, and it's working. So yeah, there we go. Fully functional card. This was a journey. If you've made it, I don't even know what it's going to end up being, but an hour and a half at least. If you made it this far, you are a freaking rock star. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you think I'm worthy. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.